Hello, I'm Lumen May, County Commissioner for District 3, Escambia County, Florida. I'm here with May's Message, talking with two very important people, Dr. Edler and Dr. Stavros, about Vivitrol. It's a drug that helps our inmates who have opioid or either alcohol addiction. And hopefully today you'll learn something about this drug that's really designed to help our inmates, but more importantly, you may have someone in your home, in your neighborhood that may need help, and just maybe today this information that we're going to share will be able to help you help somebody. Please stay tuned as we start this interview with Dr. Edler. I'm Lumen May. I'm joined here with Dr. Elder, our Escambia County Medical Director, and Dr. Stavros, Gulf Coast Addiction Medicine. As many of you know, we've worked extremely hard to remedy some of the problems that we've had in our Escambia County Jail. We now have a new jail director. We're implementing some new programs that hopefully will hope to reduce recidivism and bring about opportunity for our inmates, not only while they're being detained, but once they're out of here, to be able to go and to get other help. So today I'm very fortunate to be here to talk about a new program, Vivitrol. I don't know if I pronounced that right, Doc.
It's Vivitrol.
Vivitrol.
Very close.
I went to school in Escambia County, speak a little Ebonics every now and then, but can you say that one more time?
Vivitrol.
Vivitrol. So hopefully, you will today learn something about this new drug that we're implementing in the county jail. So Dr. L, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kind of explain what we have, and we'll let both of you just kind of talk a little bit.
Okay, well, Vivitrol is something we're looking forward to getting started in the jail, and this is a long-acting opiate blocker is the best way we can really classify it. It's similar to what Narcan does, however, it has longer effects, so it can last for about a month. One of the things that we will see with this is that when inmates get released from jail, then they might get put out into an environment where they are around triggers, which can really cause them to want to go back into using opiates. With Vivitrol, we also have a little bit of blockade on the alcohol receptors as well, so we'll also see some effects where it can actually block that, where they're not constantly wanting to get more of a high from either alcohol or opiates. Being that it does last a month, the injection itself, they would have to be required to have another injection, because every time they do get an injection, that's not an end-all, say-all event. So it's something they have to commit to, which is where Dr. Stavros comes into the picture, because he has a clinic where he deals with addiction medicine, and will be providing follow-up for the inmates as well.
So let's talk about that, because someone's sitting at home on their sofa thinking that their Avalon taxes or their tax dollars are paying for drugs for inmates in Escambia County, but none of this is paid by local tax dollars, correct?
Correct. It's all.
How is it funded?
It's state funded, and Dr. Stavros, if you wouldn't mind even stepping in, I know you know a little bit about the grant program that's been provided to us.
Yeah, so there's a national grant called the STR grant. It comes from federal monies. It comes right from Washington right to the states, where it's distributed out to the rest of the community. So it is funded completely, not only the medication, but also the services, the physician services, nursing for the injections, and the counseling as well.
So a mother's looking out, and she has her child that's been incarcerated here, has been detained, has had a drug addiction, and obviously we're going to provide this drug while we're here. You're going to have somewhat of a casework follow-up. So is this court ordered, or how do we convince them to follow up and make sure that they're continuing to utilize the drug?
Right, so it's not court ordered. This is something that a patient, or an inmate or a patient would say, yes, I need help, and I'm interested in this program, and I want to be off drugs. And really specific to opiates. It's specific to opiates. It doesn't treat for methamphetamines, doesn't treat marijuana, cocaine, but it is specific to opiates. And like Dr. Edler said, it also covers receptors of alcohol. So the key on this, though, is now what happens is they're covered with a medication when they leave jail. Now understand, there's a 12 times higher likelihood in the first 2 weeks of somebody dying from an overdose after they leave jail. In the first 2 weeks, it's phenomenal, 12 times higher likelihood. So not only are we trying to give this person a chance of not going back and doing a crime and having to go back to jail, but also to have their life, right? So they're dying in just insane numbers right now. There's truly a crisis, and it really is bad coming out of the justice system as well when you leave in a jail system. So we want to give them the best opportunity to be alive and also not to have to come back to jail too.
So, and how long before they would graduate out of this program? Is it in perpetuity, or is there an exit out of the program when they're strong enough to not need this assistance and the craving for the drug?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It really needs to be individualized for each person. You know, some people are going to be ready before than others. You know, some we may need this a little bit longer term, and so we really want to keep it that doctor-patient relationship where they're making that decision together, and not saying this is being ruled by the bench. 4 months, 6 months, that's it, we're done. It's going to be funded as long as that patient needs it. And so it's not, the grant isn't there saying, guess what, you get 6 injections and you're good to go. That's not how it works. There's going to be a minimum amount, and typically what it'll be is a minimum of at least 6 months, and then you reassess and see how the patient's doing. It's still up to that patient to engage in that treatment. If the patient says, you know what, this is really helping me, I'm staying away, my life is getting better, it's moving in the right direction, they may want to continue doing that a little bit longer, and it's funded for that as well.
And so, when you're utilizing the medication to help with the craving, is there any other counseling available to the inmates that are in the program, the aftercare program?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've noticed in our studies that the best treatment for addiction is multifactorial, right? So behavioral therapy works pretty well. Medications work pretty well, but if you combine those two together, you get the best outcomes by far. So it is mandatory that they get counseling and behavioral therapy as well.
And so, you know, we know we're implementing this new program, and I'm always excited, I think, as well as my colleagues, at trying anything that's going to give a better quality of life to our citizens, whether they're incarcerated or not incarcerated. Can you talk a little bit about other counties? I understand from our director that it happened in Orange County. We previously talked about Santa Rosa and Bay. Can you talk about some of the results that they've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a program in Bay County as well. We work closely with the sheriff there as well as Santa Rosa County. We were just starting with it. We're pretty new in the Santa Rosa County jail system, but the Bay County jail has really been quite successful. We go in, we do an evaluation of the patients understand what they're going to be taking, they get buy-in because they understand what this is going to do for them as well. We do follow-up as an outpatient, and then they continue to do quite well. Actually, we've been really remarkable how the numbers have been, at least about a 70% success rate where they've stayed in that program, and there's been obviously a decrease in recidivism and a decrease of death as well.
And this medicine is prescribed by you.
Yeah.
You're the doctor on hand that would
Yeah,
prescribe
exactly. The
it.
doctor needs to prescribe the medication.
And so, and it's administered by a medical staff
Medical
here,
staff.
our nurses, and we monitor the intake of the drug to make sure
Exactly.
there's not any adverse conditions that happen, I would assume.
Exactly. And this is an interesting drug, and just let me touch on this real quick. This is a medication, like Dr. Edler said, it blocks the receptor. So this is a medication that if I took this bottle and just stuck it out there in the middle of the hall, nobody would want it, right? Nobody would say, oh, I'm going to get high off this. It doesn't give you a high. It
Right.
just blocks receptors. And so it covers a person because, one, if they did get into any type of alcohol or opiate, it's blocked. They don't get
Right.
affected. And second, it really, like you mentioned, it decreases cravings. And when you talk to patients, that is one of the biggest problems. Cravings really take over your life because that's all you're thinking about all day long. If you could take that off your plate, you can actually start functioning and doing other things in your life.
We'll be also offering, just to bring this up as well, we talk about the Vivitrol, but we've also discussed also offering Narcan upon release. And one
So
of the
Narcan would be what?
It's a short acting. So in the instance that the inmate doesn't want to go on a long acting opiate blocker, so to speak, we can give them the Narcan, they can bring it home, their family has it, they get involved into getting, I guess, with some opiates, and they get in touch with those opiates or they start taking them again. Family member can know how to administer it. It's a short acting form of an opiate blocker, so it's not it's more of a quick fix is the best way to say it. But we will also be distributing that because we've also seen in other jails that they're doing the same thing. So one of the things too is that we will be over the, like, I guess it's right before, a week before they get released from jail. That's when we'll really be pushing to see if they're interested. That's when we would be doing the screening to make sure that all their labs and everything look okay, making sure that they understand the follow-up process. We would be monitoring, like you had mentioned, about side effects once they get the injection to make sure they don't have any kind of local side effects. So it's one of the things that I guess on the last closing part of it, I would say if you do have a family member that's in the prison, I would make sure that they're aware of it. We'll be putting flyers out as well so that they get the knowledge that they need to know about the medication. Both of them, actually.
On that note, I think it's really important to understand addiction, and addiction is a process. And you hear the phrase, you can't lead a horse. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And so
Absolutely.
you really have to meet that person when they're ready. And so if this is somebody, even in jail system, you might think, well, how could you not be ready? You've been in jail. But there's some people not ready to really fully commit to that type of treatment. And so really as a kind of a safety net, you're saying, listen, if you're not going to go with this Vivitrol, you're not going to get other treatment, we're going to give you something that's life-saving. It's just that simple. This is life-saving. And sometimes that is that moment where they're like, oh my goodness, I've been incarcerated, I'm out, I just overdosed again, at least I'm alive.
Right.
If they're not alive, you can't help them. So that's why the Narcan is so important to give that to the person that decides they're not going to take the Vivitrol program.
Yes,
So-
I like the word safety net.
Safety net. Well,
Yes.
listen, we've learned some valuable information. You know, one other thought as we end, we talked about people going back home, but what about, I mean, people leaving the county jail going to state prison? Does this folder, are they medical records follow them and they can still find this administered if they are sentenced to state prison?
Now, I would think that if they're still in state prison, they're not going to be able to get the opiate, or we would hope that they're
Okay.
not going to be able to get exposed to the opiate. So it's a very good question. So I would think, though, from what I'm learning about the jail, since this is very new to me, is that once they're released, if they go into another incarcerated facility,
So they wouldn't need any
They
other
wouldn't need it.
assistance to
But let's-
break it?
right, but let's say they get out of the state prison, then that potentially could be offered to them from that side, even if in Orange County, I would assume that they're also offering it. I think a lot of people are going to start getting on board with
So if
this.
there's someone returning home from state prison, someone's listening, they could also take advantage of this program?
Possibly, if it's affiliated at that prison.
When Dr. Elder, I mean, there's someone sitting at home, and you know, drugs change. There's always new types of drugs, but I mean, my kids have electronics that I don't understand, and so sometimes the terminology from the street drugs to the definition or the correct medical terminology are not the same. So can you kind of talk a little bit about what are opioids, and you know, if someone was trying to figure out what's happening with their loved ones or their children, I mean, what would they be looking for?
Absolutely. So opioids are commonly prescribed as for pain control. We can see that where people can tend to get addicted. So the common names that you would hear would be Loratab, Norco, hydrocodone, oxycodone, morphine, fentanyl, carfentanil, Dilaudid. A lot of people come into the ER saying, I need the stuff with a D.
Dilaudid,
So,
yeah. My
there
mother
you
just
go.
had a heart attack, and so she was on Dilaudid. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are the things that you can heroin is
Heroin.
another very commonly one that we see on the street. If there's any other street names, I mean, I know that they're combining right now heroin with methamphetamines, and there's street names that we're hearing.
And a lot of times, because of heroin addiction, I understand, and we have to talk more to law enforcement, that when people become addicted to the pain medication or the heroin, they're like, if he's addicted to the pain medication, now he can't get it because he doesn't have a prescription, they turn to heroin.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
they'll go out to the street to try to find that fix of getting that high. Something Dr. Stavros actually educated me on as well is that a lot of times people think that when they take a pain medication or an opiate, it's an automatic, you get sleepy or maybe more laid back, but not always. So a lot of these people who've been on it long term can actually get energized. And so this is one of the things I'd like to turn over to Dr. Stavros, because I know that he can give you a little bit more explanation on that as well, of how they get that high and why they're constantly getting that fix. And the other thing we're seeing that's been a big problem with where we're seeing this crisis is the fact that people may think they're going out and buying heroin, but what they're actually getting is a synthetic made form of an opiate, which is carfentanil. I'm saying that correctly, which is pretty much equivalent to, I think it's 100,000 times stronger
100
than
times stronger than fentanyl, and fentanyl is 100 times stronger than
say
morphine.
morphine, right?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Well, you know, and I think if someone's listening, I mean, either one of you could comment on this, but I think that some of the things that I've read, children young and younger are getting addicted to these drugs, and I think many times when parents have pain medications and it's not locked up or not disposed of when they finish it, a lot of times we make it accessible for our children to gain these addictions.
So, and I like to talk about this quite a bit because we don't think of addiction as a pediatric disorder, but it is. Because if you have a person that's under the age of 15 and they're introduced to opiates, right, and so they're introduced to this drug world, their chance of becoming addicted is 7 times higher than if they had been introduced over age 21.
Wow.
So it changes the brain. So the frontal part of our brain that really has that decision making and really those faculties that help us decide between right and wrong, right? It hasn't developed. It doesn't develop completely till you're age 25. And so we are actually changing the chemistry within the brain at a younger age. And their addiction potential and their severity of addiction is much higher if it starts earlier.
Absolutely. So parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, anyone that would have young children in your home, please, let's make sure that we lock these drugs up, we dispose of these drugs, and let's be aware of our surroundings. Let's be aware of what's happening with our children, because unfortunately, an adolescent, as you said, who would become addicted would probably end up incarcerated in Escambia County and on the state prison. I mean, the likelihood, there's unemployment, lack of education, drug addiction are main contributors or factors to why people are incarcerated. And one of the things we want to do in working with all the programs at Escambia County is to reduce recidivism, reduce the amount of people who are not working, who are not gainfully employed, who are not positive contributors to our society. And the way to do that is to make sure that they remain free and keep their freedom. Again, thank you both for joining us.
Absolutely.
We fall down, but we get up. And that's what this community is all about. It's really about helping each other. So today I have Miss Sabrina Hunter. Miss Hunter, how are you?
We're hanging in there.
Well, good.
How
Well,
about yourself?
I'm hanging in there. First of all, let me publicly just say thank you for sharing your story. Because let me tell you, there's some young girl out in Wedgwood, or there's some young child in Lincoln Park or Morris Court that's looking up at Miss Hunter, and they saying, I made a few mistakes. I might be in alternative education. I might have gotten in trouble. But I think today, by you sharing your story, will give them some encouragement and at least some enlightenment. So listen, I'm not going to do as much talking as I've already done off camera. Kind of want you to just kind of tell your story.
Well, I pretty much would like to sum it up, and I would like to say that even to the youth, I myself, as well as to the youth, keep our hands to ourselves, It's touch and strike. And touch
Can you tell me exactly what you're charged with? Well, why are you?
Right now, I'm charged with a battery.
Battery.
A battery charge, yeah.
Battery. And so someone's listening.
Yeah.
What's a battery?
A battery is actually touching another person in a harmful way, and we should keep our hands to ourselves.
Kind of what mom and dad said when we were little. Keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself, because it's lonely here. It's gray, and you're away from family. You're away from friends. You get a bad record. You're around other people that have done bad things, and you really need to think. I really should have thought and should think before I do things, and I would encourage the youth to do the same thing.
Absolutely. So a little bit about your background. You grew up in Wedgwood.
I grew up in Wedgwood, church background, singing.
Singing in the church.
Yes. We still can do that here, but it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
Well, I know you probably. I know the Smiley family. Y'all had long services, but at least you eventually got out.
Yeah.
Right here, you can sing all night, but you still got to stay here.
And I've come from a family that you just don't get in trouble. You just don't get in trouble. So that's one thing that hasn't been very well with me. I've come from a family. There's college, there's work, there's honorable way to live, and that is the way to live. That is the way to be. This is not the place for anyone to.
So, and people would sit out there and they'll look and they'll have a stereotype or preconceived notion about who gets arrested. But
No.
You grew up in the church. You grew up in a good family, and
So I think if I'm answering you right, there's not actually a certain structure that your family is carrying from day to day that can or cannot stop you from getting in trouble. It's within yourself. It's the choices that you make. It's remembering what you have been taught within your family. And when you sometimes, like I did, just get to a I don't care place in life and forget that, then that brings you here.
Do you have children?
I have children. I have 4 children. I have 4 grandchildren.
How old are your children?
24, 22, 14, and 12.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So obviously, you have good family.
And they are
support.
great. They are great. And my son and my daughters, they've never been in trouble. Thank God they do very well in school. They're very progressive on their jobs. They sing at church also. They have that foundation, thank God. But I hope that whatever in life, whether it be marriage, relationship, bad grades on a test, anything that does not cause them to forget about that and lash out and do something that'll bring them here, because it's no good. If they call it the Gray Castle, it's gray here.
It's gray.
It's lonely. You know what I'm saying? You are here to think about what you've done and think about not doing it again.
So, well,
and making a decision,
Oh, exactly. Well, listen, I want to thank you again. Mm-hmm. And as you said, it's gray, it's lonely, it's sad, it's not fun.
And I don't want the youth, and one thing I do want to say, don't sit here and look at me and us having this conversation and think it's just easy to coast through this conversation. It's really gray. It's really lonely. It's locked up. It's away from birthdays, deaths, weddings, your children, your mom and dad, you don't want to come to this place at all.
I think that's a good way to close. This is not a way you want to come to.
No, not at
And
all.
thank you. And we know that your children are waiting, and you'll be a great parent once you're able to get your freedom. And hopefully,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, I know you have a great family, and this county, we're going to continue to put our arms around you. And thank you for being a person who said, I made a mistake.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want anybody else. I often tell young people that, you know, I didn't have to touch the stove to know that it was hot. I
That's
just had to
right.
take somebody else's word.
That's right.
So you don't have to come here. They
You
can
don't
take your
have to
word
do it.
for
That's,
it.
that's right. Yes.
Good. Ms. Hunter, thank you so much. Hello, we're back here, and you know we've had some real heart-touching stories today, and I've learned something as long as I've lived, and as much as I've been involved in reducing recidivism and incarceration and prevention programs. Today is one of those somber moments, and where you really learn that many of the struggles that people go through you would never imagine. And so I'm here with Ariel Phillips from the Warrenton area, who's an inmate here in the Escambia County Jail. And Ariel, first of all, welcome. Thank you. And hopefully you know that this is just something that I'm promoting to help some young child, or to get somebody else who's not a young child and an adult to understand exactly what happens inside of a jail cell. So if you don't mind, I'm going to just let you share your story.
I'm currently here on battery on the Leo. Do you know what that is?
Veteran or law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. I'm getting cool now. I've heard that term before.
So I've been here since April the 22nd. So 7 months I've been in here. I've been in and out of trouble since I was 14. So I kind of been in and out of the system.
Did you
for a
graduate
while.
high school?
No. I got kicked out of high school for fighting. Escambia High School. So it's been kind of rough along the edges.
So there's some young child out there who thinks she's tough. I was at the fair this weekend. I saw young ladies fighting. And so, I mean, can you talk a little bit about, you know, the things that go along when you decide to start fighting, the consequences that you suffer?
You could build a record for yourself by just touching somebody. It's a battery. I've learned that, and just, you know, learn how to work things out other than putting your hands on people, because that's not the way. It's just,
So I think, you know, after going through, you said age 14, where'd you grow up? How did you grow up? Did you grow up in a single family home? You grew up with mom and dad, grandma?
no, I grew up without grandparents, without aunts and uncles. Only my mom was a single mother with 6. I had everything, but it's just lack a few things. I guess that's where you could say I strayed off and just kind of like tried to do my own thing, and that really didn't work for me. I ended up here a few times, and it was kind of rough growing up in my community, because it ain't the best of the best, it ain't the worst of the worst either, but it was hard because you see a lot of things out where I'm from. So
You have children of your own?
yes, I have a 4-year-old.
A 4-year-old.
Yeah, a girl.
A girl. Wow, I bet she's cute. So how long have you been incarcerated? Is this your first incarceration?
No, this actually is the lowest sentence that I've ever did. I always do either 1130, which is 11 months and 30 days, or something like 10 months. This is the lowest sentence, which I've been doing 8 months.
So you'll be out of here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting to do when you get out?
Just be a mother to my child and go back to school. That's what I want to do.
And get your GED?
Yes, sir.
Well, when you get out, you call our office, and we're going to try to line you up with some type of GED program, whether it's Pensacola State or Pathways or something, because we know that that's important. I mean, because the correlation to people who don't have a high school diploma to those is a direct correlation to incarceration. And so I want to thank you for coming out to share your story. When you get out, you know, we want to make sure you make contact with our office.
Yes, sir.
And in closing, we wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. And you've heard all type of stories. People with batteries, people who've been in prison 10 years, 15 years, people with foster homes, many times we find that people that are incarcerated are not people who are carrying guns or people who are assaulting or hardened criminals or rapists. We have a large portion of people who are in prison, on things from back child support to driving with suspended license. And I'm glad to have Reginald. Reginald hung out in the neighborhood that I grew up in. We were neighbors for at least 17 years. And so, Reginald, welcome to the show. Know that there are some young people, old people that are watching you on television today. And I want you to kind of share your story.
I'm incarcerated now for like habitual driving, and I never took the time out like to go to get my license, but I wish I have. Then I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in now.
So you're in jail. So I want to say that you're in jail right now for driving without license, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, keep going.
Yeah, not just driving without license, like a habitual driving, like I kept doing it over and over, getting caught driving cars with no license, stuff like that.
So how much time did you get for driving without license?
I'm still waiting to get caught. I ain't got sentenced yet.
You didn't got sentenced yet. What is it looking like for you?
They offered me prison time, 36 months for not driving.
So young people, if you're listening, you're driving and you don't have your license and you don't listen to your parents and you keep doing things. And when he says habitual, that's a legal term, and you just keep repeating doing the same thing over and over and over again, without acknowledging that there are going to be some consequences for your actions. So, Mr. Kennedy will say, that's real. 36 months. You're talking 3 years for driving without license. So if there's some young person that's out there right now and not doing the right thing, because many times we can't get our license when we drop out, we don't pay our child support. What's the encouraging word you would say to someone?
They got to drive in their school right now while you're in school. Get the license, man. Real, you don't want to be caught up wasting your life going around the road for driving. Get them license. I don't tell you.
I tell you what, that's a great way to end this, Reginald. I want to thank you for sharing your story. But I want people to understand, the rules are the rules. When you're supposed to bring your books to school, you need to bring them. You're supposed to bring your tools to work, you bring them. And that's why it's important to listen at your parents. And whatever the rules are, you got to go by the rules. And if it means that you're supposed to get your license and not drive, then you should be getting your license. So, Reginald, we hope that you get your license once you get out.
I'm most definitely going down there to get them.
Get them. Well, Reginald, thank you for sharing your story.
Yes, sir.
I'm here with Miss Melissa Porter, another inmate in Escambia County Jail that was willing to share her story. And I remember teaching in alternative education and working at Private Industry Council and then working at Redirection many years ago as a part of youth development and delinquency prevention. So, Ms. Porter, one, let me just personally thank you for coming here to share your story. And we really appreciate it. And we hopefully that some child or mother or someone is listening today that will be encouraged to not take a step in the direction of incarceration, but to take a step in the way of a good education, a good job, and working in the community. And we do understand that this is not about anybody exposing or doing anything negative other than to have a positive experience. To come out and encourage you, because we know that once God allows for you to step out, that you're going to be in a positive direction. But hopefully there's somebody else that doesn't want to come this way because of the story you shared. So listen, I'm going to turn it over to you. And you can share your story. What you're incarcerated for, how long you've been here, and the experience of being here, and anything that you want to say to.
My name is Judith Melissa Porter. I'm 39. I've been in and out of jail and prison since I was 17.
Wow.
I got kicked out of regular school for fighting and got put in redirection school. I got kicked out of that school, and I stopped going to school. I do not have a GED or a college education. It was hard out there. Been in the foster care in the HIS system since I was 12, and me running in and out of the foster cares in different homes to the age I got 18. Started using drugs, and
Just take your time. You're fine.
I started using drugs and started messing with different men and different women, and got introduced to cocaine and was dealing with abusive relationships, and led me to keep coming to jail, going out there stealing, fighting, the drugs that I was on, cocaine, then crack, you know, it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but it was something that at the time made me feel like that's what I wanted to keep my comfort, you know, at ease. I had no parent support. I had no friendship support. So the people I was coming to jail for was never there for me. When I came here to the jailhouse, no visitation, no commissary, no letters. It's hard, you know. As I got older, I went in labor here in 2000s, and I had a baby boy, and I still had to come back to the jailhouse to finish my time. When I came in, I was 6 months pregnant. When I left out, my son was 6 months. When I came home, I wanted my son to myself, but my mama didn't want that because she knew the life that I lived. I gave my son custody to my mom and dad. It's not easy having to be in here and not being able to see your child. They're not wanting to bring them to you. You're not getting no types of support, nothing. Writing them and they're not responding back. It's hard. I cried many a days wanting to know why people wasn't there for me. Why did nobody reach out to me when all I ever did was look out after them, took care of them, even though I was out there doing the wrong things. I felt like someone should at least reach out to me. Someone. But it wasn't. And it still ain't. Now I got a relationship with my adopted parents. And now that, you know what I'm saying, they do a little something here and there, you know. The reason I'm in here now is for kidnapping, robbery, battery. I was involved in the wrong crowd. And it was scary.
Ms. Porter, if there's some young child that was listening, let me just say that
You don't have no friends out there. No matter who tell you, I'm your friend. I'll ride for you. You don't have them. Because I done been in here several times behind someone else's charges. And the damn time wrote me. The damn time accepted my call. The damn time decided to put $1 or $2 in my books. You could have grew up with this person and that person still will not be there for you. You don't have your friends. Them friends you say that are your friends are not your friends. They're talking about you. They're downgrading you.
Ms. Porter, I just, thank you. Sometimes, it's hard to hear these stories. I mean, and, I know there's somebody probably out that's in foster care that didn't have the support, and we know that for every crime there's a punishment, and you've accepted all of yours, but hopefully, you know, that you're saying something that will encourage somebody, and when you're out, that this community, I'm working hard to have exit programs because we do understand with ex-felons, and so, you know, when you get out, we're gonna see if we can help you get in a GED program and try to help find employment. And I want to just thank you for sharing
And I
your story.
also made up my mind to start using drugs. I have no addiction for it. I've been here since 2016, and I have no craving, no nothing.
So out of your years, I mean,
Yeah.
how many years of your life have you spent in jail or prison?
I've been in and out of jail since the age of 17.
And you're how old now?
I'm 39. I'll
Wow.
be 39 Friday, November 2nd.
Wow. And young people, when you're listening, I mean, you just missed out on a lot of things that young
missed
adults
out
and
a whole lot.
teenagers would do. I mean, things people take for granted, going to the fair or, you know, going to the 16th birthday party, and those things you
Not
just,
only that, being in and out my son's life.
absolutely the most
And
important thing.
and him not really getting to know who I am.
How old is your son now?
He's finna be 18,
Wow.
December 12th.
Wow. Wow. Ms. Porter, you know, this won't be my last visit. You know, I don't know, but I'm going to come back and, you know, we're going to follow up. And, you know, we're going to share this story. I'm going to talk with the director to make sure that, you know, when we put this entire package out, that you can see it. And hopefully through your experiences, I can't go back and take away, you know, the childhood neglect that happened to you, the foster homes in and out. But we can say that, you know, we love you. We wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't love you. And, you know, we're going to continue to pray. And hopefully, from what you've gone through, there's some child sitting in foster care that won't go through the same thing that you went through. So again, thank you so much for sharing your story. Hello, I'm back again at Escambia County Jail with Richard Holt. Richard is an inmate in Escambia County Jail, and we're very thankful, Richard, that you were willing to share your story, a little bit about your background, what happened, and some of the things that you can say to someone who's sitting at home watching right now, who's watching this show, about the things that parents can do, the community can do, or teachers and preachers and anyone that may be listening, that we understand that it takes a village to raise our children. And so, Richard, I'm gonna hand it off to you as I've done previously, and just let you tell a little bit about your background, why you're incarcerated, and anything you might want to say to this community and to the children who are watching.
All right. I'm 49 years old. I've been an inmate in this jail probably going on about 48. This is about my 48th arrest in this county.
Wow.
I started when I was probably about 21 years old. The crimes started fairly light. They were misdemeanors, and they've worked themselves up through the years. This time I was truly blessed. I got a year in this jail. I probably should have went to prison. I had 10 felonies that I pled out to in September, and received an 11-month, 30-day sentence. And there again, I was truly blessed to get it. What I could tell the younger crowd out there, the biggest thing that causes incarcerations and arrest is it probably starts, or it did with me, with peer pressure. You know, giving in to what other kids are doing out there, even though that you know in your head that it's wrong, and you do it anyway. And before it's over with, you want to be recognized. You want to be with the in crowd. You want to see, you know, you want to see and do the things all your friends are doing. And eventually you get pushed into a spot where you want to outdo people. And in outdoing people, things happen. And with me, I wanted to be the life of the party. Well, being the life of the party has some consequences to it. And they can end you up here on a frequent basis, you know. So what I would say is it's not a bad thing to go the other way, to walk the road that's less traveled. Doing what everybody else is doing is not necessarily the thing to be doing. The other thing is the drug problem that we have in this country today. That's pretty much, within a nutshell, my last 5 or 6 arrests have all been from the use of narcotics. I'm an addict. I've been an addict for about 30 years, and it's caused me a lot of problems. I have 2 grown children. they haven't come to jail yet, and I hope they never do. But you know, they've seen what I've done. I've caused a lot of problems for myself and my family. So you know, it's not something I'm proud of. But I can tell you now, you know, it starts, like I said before, it starts out small and it just keeps growing. And drugs and alcohol will fuel a lot of it, and it has in my history. But
Richard, if your family was listening, your children or your siblings, what would you say to them today?
well, that I love them, and you know, I'd apologize for what I had done. You know, it wasn't. Sounds like a cliche, but you know, it really wasn't me doing the things that I was doing. It was the drugs that were fueling my actions, and I'm not the same person on drugs. I've had people tell me since I've been arrested this time that the pictures they took of me when I was arrested they don't even recognize me. My own public defender didn't recognize me from the photo that was taken when I was arrested, and what she saw of me just a month later of cleaning out all the substances that I was using.
So you've been able to get clean since you were
Right. Well, I mean, I'm clean because I'm incarcerated. That's all I can truly tell you.
Right.
Once an addict, I believe you're always an addict. And if
Absolutely.
you fall back into, you know, if you get around people, places, and things that are going to lead you back to it, you're going to use again. You know, so I'm drawing strength from the Word. I am a Christian, albeit a backslider, and you know, I'm trying to get back on the horse and do the right thing and keep my head straight. Some days are easier than others, you know.
Well, let me just tell you, I mean, being a believer is important. All have sinned and come short of the glory. And the good thing about the good master is that he forgives over and over and over again, Richard. So don't ever beat yourself up about that. That's the good thing about God, is that he forgives. And that's what I believe in reducing recidivism and second chance, that everyone deserves a second chance. But young people, if you're sitting out, I think Richard would echo this. We don't want you to have to be in the position that Richard's in to have a second chance, because you don't have to come here. Richard's telling you how bad it is from being here. And so, Richard,
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead, Richard.
Well, the other thing, and you just brought it up, it's bad here. To anybody that's not been here, it's not somewhere you want to be. I tell you, it's overcrowded. The conditions are not good. There's a bunch of frustrated people that want to get out and have no way of getting out, and it's not a situation you want to be in, trust me.
I think that's a good way to end. Richard, thank you for sharing your story. And I hope that there's some young man that's sitting out there, some teenager that's listened to Richard, 48 arrests, 10 felons, and he's simply saying, you know, you don't have to do it. It's very important who you hang out with. It's very important the people that you surround yourself with. And parents, grandparents, neighbors, uncles, aunts. We have to be aware of our children's surroundings, because as Richard just attested to, the peer pressure is a very powerful pressure. Richard, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for continuing to watch with me. Hopefully that you're continuing to watch it. These are real life stories in Escambia County. It's not Scared Straight, a national television program, or it's not a cops and robbers. This is real life people who live here in Escambia County, who have been incarcerated, who are sharing their story. They don't have to. We have over 1,500 inmates, and very few would share their story. But although everyone that sat down today has admitted to their faults and their wrongdoings, they've said, I don't want anybody else to go through the struggle that I went through. And so I'm glad to be joined by Bobby. Bobby, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Bobby, thank you for being here a little bit. I mean, there are people watching this show, and you know, they want to hear the Bobby Smith story. And so I'm going to just turn it over and let you say it.
Okay, yes, my name is Bobby Smith, and I've been doing this here since I was like 16 years old. You know, I've been in prison 6 times. You know, made plenty of mistakes, did a lot of wrong in my life. But you know, this ain't the life for y'all, man. You know, I need jail bars. If y'all will just take the time and just think, man, think about the situation before you do it. You know, it's a better life. You'll see that things will come out better. There's a whole nother way. But you know, as a young child, me having kids, and I had to live with the life of fact of being away from my kids. And now that my kids is up in age, they always telling me like, Daddy, you know, you never was there. You always in and out of prison. That's a hard thing to deal with in life as a father, especially when you love your child. You know, I chose jail, I chose the drug gang, and I chose the streets over my family at the time, because I was blind to the fact of what really was important.
So if you can just think about what you're doing and just look at life now, man, that years ago we didn't have opportunities that we got now. For real. The opportunity that we have now as a race of people, man, we need to really take advantage of that and leave these streets alone and stop the violence for real. You know, because, man, these judges giving out life sentence and death and all that, and that ain't what you really want, bro. I'm for real. God knows, I mean, I don't want to see nobody, but I mean, I pray for my kids every day. If you turn and watch the news, you'll see people getting shot in churches, walking the streets, all that, man. It's just a time y'all need to leave the streets alone and just live life, man, and try to be a better person. And then those that are y'all that say, well, it's my family fault, my mom or my dad fault, they ain't show me no attention and all that. When you hit a certain age in life, God put all your punishment on your hand. You will have to bear those punishments. Not your mother, not your father, your grandmother, your spouse, or nothing. You have to become responsible and accept wrongdoing for yourself as a human being. We all make mistakes. We all be forgiven. We ask. Y'all want to live the right life? Pray to God, man. Ask Him. Live for Him. He'll show you. Just like you see the side of us that's being wrong, there's another side also that's doing right, and they living better than us. They eating better than us. I'm up to just be real. They doing a whole lot better. But life itself is too short for the foolishness. When I mean by foolishness, I mean like going out hurting other people with hatred, racism, and all this. You know, a long time ago, I tell my kids this, and I continue to tell them. Martin Luther King had a dream. One day, black and white would live to play together. Now he seen that dream. But Martin Luther King never had a dream that one day he'll see we, as a race of people, hurt each other, take and kill and destroy. So I can tell y'all, man, please just take the opportunity to think about every situation that you're about to do. Because you ain't got no friends. When you come in here, your friends forget about you. Your mama can't help you. You can call home and cry. I got a nephew, 17 years old, sitting up there right across the hall from me. Cry all the time. And we kept telling him. Now he did something, he paying the consequences. You know, I was 16, I was in prison, 10-year bid, did the whole 10. I wasn't supposed to do before. And I'm doing the whole 10 years. Gang banging, a flag. You know, a color of a flag. You know, and that's what's going on. That's what we killing about. That's what this all about now these days. Man, leave that flagging alone, that gang banging, that ain't nothing, man. Because your brother while you out there, but they ain't gonna come see you. They ain't gonna see you no commissary. They ain't gonna see you no eye care pack. And they ain't gonna go to your mama's house and give your mama money. Somebody in your family passed. They might pay the respect, but for real, they ain't doing that. They out there still flagging and banging. But that's what they choose to do, you know? But you ain't got to make that choice. You can make a difference in life, one at a time. You can change one person a day, you can make a better change for this world. That's all I got to say. God bless y'all. Y'all keep your head up.
Bobby, thank you for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And what you talked about, some of the things we work on in gang prevention and, you know, having positive activities in our community centers. And I think, you know, your story is something that should resonate with them because it is a lonely place. And again, no one will think about you when you're behind these bars. So,
Nobody.
Bobby, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you. We're back again with Mr. Albert Johnson, who's 60 years old and you know,
I'll be
growing
60 in November.
60 in November. And I remember growing up, Albert, you know, playing Terry Wayne and you know, seeing you around and growing up in Morris Court and the Brent area. Albert, you were always a guy. I tell you one thing. Nobody ever messed with you. I will say that.
They sure won't.
Nobody never messed with you. I remember watching you as a young kid. I mean, but listen, the reason we're here today, as we said earlier, is for you to share your story.
Okay.
Because I know that you don't want any young man to follow in the same path. So, Albert, listen, I'm not going to do a lot of questions. I'm just going to give you an opportunity to share your story, why you're here, and maybe give a little insight to some young person to why they wouldn't want to be here.
Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all, for experience. If y'all young guys out there listening and hearing what I got to say, this is not the place for y'all. Y'all need to go to school, mind your mama, and do what your mama and daddy tell you to do. Because these people in the jailhouse are not playing now. The officer, they real nice, but you get out of line, they gonna put you back in line. And y'all young guys, when you finish school, you need to go, if you wanna fight, go in the army, go in the military. And stop talking back at your mama. And you know, do what your mama and your daddy tell you to do. I know it's hard out there. And stay out the streets. Don't do like I did, run them club to club and this and that and try to sell drugs. Because selling drugs ain't going to get you nowhere but right where I'm at. Hey, you wearing one of these. And I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of wearing this suit. I've been coming to jail just about every 5 years. I'm back in here for the same thing. But this time it's a little different. I learned something. I done got in my Bible and I pray. Something I ain't never did before. They might send me on down there this time, but if they do, I just going to accept it. But I'm going to tell all young guys out there, stop skipping school and running behind your buddies and want to wear them Jordans and stuff like that right there, selling that dope and robbing the next man. And keep them guns out your hand, because these folks are getting you 10 and 15 out of them guns. And them drugs ain't no good. Don't smoke don't let nobody fool y'all smoking them drugs. You start drinking beer, and then you're going to start smoking weed. Don't let your friends entice you. And y'all bullies in school, y'all start bullying them folks. Because now I watch TV now, and it just ain't right. I'm letting y'all know I'm old school. And I pray and hope I don't never come back to this no more. And that's one thing I want to tell y'all. And mind your mama. Stop skipping school, because I see a lot of y'all skipping school. I say something to the one that I know. But y'all don't listen to them. Y'all call me old this and that on the street. But look where I'm at. This ain't no place for it. The food is all right, but they just give you just a little bit. You can't get up and go to Burger King and McDonald's and nothing like that in there. You got to eat what they give you. And they give you enough. The food be all right, but it don't taste like mom and daddy food. I'm telling y'all now. Y'all young kids, go to school and finish school and stop skipping school. And y'all girls, stop running around with these boys, because I see y'all out there. And stop getting pregnant. They got them things, what y'all know what to do. And don't have sex until you get grown.
Until you get married, how about that?
Yeah, until you get married. Yeah, I just want to know, just put it out there. Because I thank God for my mama. My mama tried to raise me the best that she can, but I choose this life. But I got old now, and I begin to see my mistake. I'm tired. This ain't no place for no young kids or nothing. Y'all want to fight and shoot guns, go in the military. Join the army when you get out of school. Get you a college degree. Stuff like that. I got mine in prison, that's sad to say it. Last time I was in prison was in Alabama. I went to Ventral. I got my GED, I got a trade and everything. I did good when I hit the street. I worked, I was a welder, a coating manufacturer. I was good at it. But no, I want them Jordans and all this and want to get out there and sell drugs. No, but look where I'm at now. You do wrong, you gonna get caught sooner or later.
Albert, thank you, and I think that's a good way to end this. If you do wrong, you will get caught,
Yeah, right.
and you'll spend your life in prison. Thank you. As you say, we call you old school because you've been through a lot. But thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you.
And we appreciate it. I go down A Street every single day of my life, and many of you go down A Street as you're coming downtown, as you go to work. And for years, A Street was a hangout. It was a store that we worked hand in hand with the chief of police and with the mayor to try and somewhat clean up A Street. But one of the people that was down there on A Street was Jerry Jill. Let me just say this. Every time I'd ride through there, you guys were very respectful to me.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I would ride through there and every day, and some people would be afraid. I remember going through with a reporter, Dwayne Escobedo, doing a story on A Street, and I walked down. All of you guys, y'all took care of me and respected me, and that's
Yes, sir.
one of the reasons I'm in this jail right now, because I know that in spite of being incarcerated, there's a lot of love.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of care in your heart. And, you know, we all fall down. I mean, we've all had family members. I had brothers, cousins, all who have fallen. But the good thing about the good master, once you fall down, he'll help you up. So, Jerry, listen, I want you to share your story.
Yeah, so how you doing? 18 years old, I received 25-year sentence. I had a full academic scholarship to wrestle and play football.
Wow.
Messed it up with prison and gangs. I did 12 years on a 25-year sentence. Gave the rest of the time back.
Wow.
I left Ohio, Columbus, and moved to Pensacola, where my mom stayed. She stayed by Joe Morris.
Okay.
And I reoffended again in 2011. I did 14 months for a robbery. The message I want to get across is, kids, enjoy being a child.
Amen.
I was 12 years old, thought I was grown. My girlfriend was 28 years old. So I didn't enjoy being a child. I don't have those memories of what a child gets to enjoy being a child. I mean, you got one mother, love your mother. The streets don't love nobody. The streets don't love nobody at all. So don't listen to the hype. It's not what everybody cracks it up to be. Go to school, get an education. I had to get an education from prison. I earned my GED. I earned an associate's degree, but I had to get it from prison. And still today, I find it hard to use what I earned and learned in prison because we are creatures of habit. And once you get into running around in them streets, hanging with the same jokers don't mean you're no good, it becomes a habit. And I'm almost 45 years old, still trying to, overcome. I know better, but it's still in me. It's a habit. And I just want you to get your education, man, and try not to get caught up in doing things repeatedly. Reprobate mind. Stay away from that. If they're not good for you, you know right from wrong. Don't nobody have to tell you that. You know it. Listen to your mother, man. Stay in school, man. Stay away from them drugs. Stay away from them corners. Stay away from them same old jokers. That's not doing right. Love on your mother. You only have one.
Amen.
And once she gone, boy, the world is gonna show you their true colors. So, love on your mama. Enjoy being a child. Get your education, man, and do something with your life, man. This ain't a place for you.
Dear, thank you. And your mother, I know exactly where the house is by Joe Morris Funeral Home.
And the roof.
Annie Ruth, yeah, man. You a good mother. Young people, if you're listening at this, you may be a superstar football player. You may be a superstar basketball player. You're looking at a superstar athlete who, because of choices, ended up incarcerated. And so none of us are exempt from the failures. But Jerry, I want to thank you for sharing this story. And young people, I want you to just take a look at Jerry and listen at those words and let them penetrate. And to many of you are looking 45 years old and they're just sentenced to 25 years on just the first charge, and had to do 12. And so Jerry, we're hoping that you get out and that you can get involved in the community, and some of the children that are watching you today on television will get an opportunity to meet you in person.
That's my passion. I mean, God put something on me in '97, starting my own rejuvenation / boot camp for troubled teens.
Wow.
And I got it. I know what God wants me to do. It's just like I said, is I know what's not good for me, but I still, I find it easier to do what I've been doing. I don't know if that, is
Absolutely, it's always easy, and we always
easier
fight
to
those-
do what I'm used to doing. It's not right. So.
And
don't
young
get into
people,
that.
what Jerry's saying, I mean, the road to destruction is wide, but the road to righteousness and goodwill is a narrow. I mean, it's always easier to do the wrong thing than the right thing, but the right thing has the best results, because when you do the wrong thing, you end up in the wrong place. And you end up in the wrong place, then your life takes a wrong direction. And with the wrong direction, it's hard to turn around. And so today, we're very fortunate to have somebody like Jerry that shared his story. Jerry, don't give up.
Yes,
I can just tell you when you get out, my passion, as you know, probably growing up, is community centers. And we do believe in second chances. That's why we have reentry programs. That's why I've been supportive of alternative education programs, alternative incarceration programs, and no matter what you've gone through, there's some value in your story.
Yes, sir.
And when you get out, it won't be just someone watching on television. It'll be actually, they can see, touch, and feel somebody that's been through something. So, Jerry, thank you for joining May's message today. The stories that you heard are true stories that many of our citizens experience, and many of you who are sitting at home, you've had family members, you've had siblings, or you've had children or cousins or just friends who have made mistakes. And so what we learned today, by just making a mistake doesn't make you a bad person. And when you make a mistake, sometimes you need the community to help. And that's really what we're trying to do in Escambia County. We're trying to show citizens that Escambia cares. And so we want to reduce recidivism. We want people to not be incarcerated where they're sitting around, not being gainfully employed, but we want them out being productive citizens. And so hopefully the stories that are shared today will be stories that you'll help us share and help children to not find themselves in the same predicament. So again, many of the families who are watching, thank you for having your loved ones share their story. Then maybe someone will be helped by what's being said today. Thank you for joining us again. Today we're going to share with you some of the great things that are happening here in Escambia County with our youth, our young adults, and our seniors. Please sit, watch, learn, and reach out to us to show us how you can volunteer and be a part of your Escambia County District 3. Hello, I'm over in Evanwood Community Center with one of our county employees, Leroy Williams, in the Evanwood Community Center. One of the things when I first got elected was a neighborhood association meeting and talked about what can we do for the seniors, what can we do for the children. And this is one of our shining stars, an after-school program free of charge. Children not only get nutritional snacks and meals, but they also get an opportunity to get homework assistance, recreation, leisure, and just a lot of different things. And the person that helps make that happen over here is Leroy. Leroy, kind of tell us what's going on and a little bit about the program, because I know people are sitting at home many times when they pass by community centers and they don't know exactly what goes on the inside. And so on the inside of here, we're really transforming lives because of you and the many volunteers that you have gotten to come and help out. So just tell us a little bit about it for someone who's sitting at home tonight.
Awesome. First of all, much thanks to you, Commissioner, for allowing this to happen. We have an awesome program over here at Evanwood Community Center. We have an awesome after-school program. We have over 60-plus students who comes every day faithfully on an average. We have an awesome senior program that takes place over here, and a series of other programs that just takes place right here at the Evanwood Community Center. And they're all awesome. I mean, we got a great staff that works with us, lots of partnerships who help us to work with our children. One of our greatest attributes of what we do is we believe that if we work with the behavior of our children, that they'll be better students in school, they'll be better at home, and they'll be better at play. So one of our big things that we do is we work with discipline. But in most of all that, our after school program, the kids have, like you said, a healthy snack when they come in. We do their homework, and we have an awesome computer program set up for our kids. We bring in speakers to talk to our kids about different topics of how to be successful, not only in school, but at work and play. And so it is really an awesome program, and we have some awesome students. We keep a great PR with our school system to make sure that our kids are making the right grades. If we see where our kids are falling low in our grades, that's what we zero in on, and we try to help in that capacity. Right now, reading and math is a big one. So we take that time out to spend more time in the reading capacity and the math capacity. We have a great partnership with the library. That the West Florida Library comes over like today on Thursdays and read to our children faithfully every Thursday. And so we believe that reading is the key to success. So we really are sticking with that as well. So we got just an awesome program, awesome students. Our kids are very disciplined, and we like that.
Leroy, tell a little bit about the collaboration of assets that you do with Oak Crest School. I know that the principal and the board, and not only that, the business community here. I mean, when we first started, no real relationship with the school, no real relationship with the business community. And I know that you fostered those initial meetings that we had into something that has really grown into thousands of dollars of private dollars and the book bag giveaways and all the things that you do and all of the parties. And I think many times you work with the teachers on training, and many of the teachers who were working in the summer. Talk just a little bit about that collaboration.
Yeah, it goes back to the old saying, come from an old school, it takes a village to raise our children. And the first thing I did, Commissioner, when you brought me into this area is to bring the community together. And I went knocking on doors, bringing the parents together, bringing the community together, went knocking on businesses and say, hey, we need for you to be a part of this awesome thing we got in the school system right here. How can we all work together for the betterment of our children? And so we have an awesome partnership right here at Evanwood for over the last 4.5 years. And it's just been a great, we got the school system at Oakwood is just so great. We use their school for our summer program because we have so many kids. Last year we had over 400 kids to register for this program. Thanks to Evanwood, we were able to answer the call for a lot of those children. We have GSI that comes in faithfully, and they actually buy snacks for our kids. Any need that our kids have, they go out and they go and get it and bring it to our children. We have the different churches that comes in and do things with our children. Mostly our partners is our greatest attribute because we have over 49 partners.
What are some of the organizations that come in?
Some of the organizations is like CDAC. CDAC is one of our greatest partnerships. CDAC actually come in every day and work behaviorally with our children. We have Campfire for Kids. They come in and they work with our children. We have the health department that comes in and do a lot of things. For example, for dentist program, they had a dentist services that came in 4 times for free services for our children. And so they come in, they do their things on a weekly basis to help us for 4 weeks to help these children with. But mainly we have CDAC, which is so awesome with us. We have the Children Home Society that comes in and work with us. We have West Florida, the University of West Florida, the Student Association. Those guys come out and do a great deal of things with our children. We're so excited about that. Even Pensacola State College, they bring some of their students out. We have Mr. Bear, who is actually doing a new baseball program that came out. Yeah, awesome thing. We have the tennis for everyone. Come out and work with our children to give them the athletic side of things, to introduce them to some things that typically they may not do. So we just got a host of partnerships that makes up what we do for our children. And at the end of the day, everybody wins.
Well, Leroy, you talk a lot. We had 400 children here this summer. This place was packed in Oakcrest. And so there was not a gap of learning. And we mean by that, during the summertime, our children are still getting educational enrichment. They're still being in a safe environment. And one of the number one deterrents of delinquency is structured activities. And the hours in which children get in trouble are after school between 2 and 8 p.m. and during the summer months. But we're helping thousands of children. This is what I call the greatest investment, is the investment in human capital. And so many times people don't necessarily value all the worth that they can give by coming out and volunteering. So if there's somebody at home today that has a skill set, we'd love to have them out here participating in this program, in our performing arts. And people have computer skills, as we see these young people are on the computers and they're learning. Everybody can do something to help. And so, we're very proud to talk about this program, that although this program is free, it's not cheap. We provide a lot of the resources that you would find in any other camp, really more, because we don't just come here and babysit children. We come here for them to have a learning experience, a supplement to all the other things. We're not a substitute for parenting. We're a supplement to good parenting. We're not a substitute for schooling. We're a supplement to schooling. And so hopefully, Leroy will continue to do this program and getting support. Thank you, Leroy, for going beyond the call of duty. You have really went beyond the parameters of what a standard employee would do, because I know your passion and your heart and your love for our children. And we appreciate it when you look at the pockets of poverty and the blight and many of the systemic things that happen in the community. Many people could go without hope. And so I think that, these programs are the programs that we make sure that our children are getting hope.
I'll say, and just to add just a little bit to that, we hold our parents accountable. Our parents come in, they work with us. When we call on our parents, they're there for us. and we let them understand that in order for us to help your children, we need for you to do your part.
Absolutely.
And so we're very stickler with that, and we believe in that.
Thank you for saying that, Leroy, because we do need to do this all over the community. In Evanwood and Wedgewood and Brownsville and Montclair, eventually we get there. It's one step at a time. But I believe in community centers. I believe in the power of our children. I believe that if we give them an opportunity, they will excel in every endeavor. And really, it's not a cliche to say the children are our future, because they really are our future, and it's rapidly approaching. So thank you for making Escambia County a better place to live, work, and play, Leroy.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you for watching May's Message. Hopefully you have enjoyed some of the good things that are happening with our young children. Because of you and your support in District 3, we are able to provide these programs, and many times free of charge. We're able to offer these summer employment programs, which is really an economic development program and an economic stimulus investment in human capital. So again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More programs to come here in Escambia County District 3.